If you're moving overseas and you think that your budget spreadsheet has you covered, it probably doesn't. Today, I'm breaking down the top mistakes that expats make when budgeting for life abroad and exactly how to avoid them. Stick around to the end for a quick checklist that you can screenshot. Hello, I'm Kimberly Ann, a US expat living in Portugal. I coach immigrants on cost of living planning, and I'm excited to point out some money traps that I often see. This is the first in a series. I'm keeping these short so you can binge them quickly. Mistake number one. One of the biggest mistakes is assuming that the cost of living that you research on the internet before you move will be your cost of living. Maybe you're looking on Numbeo or Google or asking AI, and they're all gonna say something similar. Numbeo says that you can find a one-bedroom in the city of Lisbon for 1,500 euros a month. Include another 700 euros, and Numbeo says you'll be able to cover your food and your bills, which would include water, electricity, Wi-Fi, and your phone. I am sorry to inform you, but this is simply not true. Perhaps you'll be able to score a studio outside the city center or find a share room for that price. But until you have your feet on the ground, you won't know for sure anywhere you go, because online you're seeing tourist prices. And even once there, you'll still be paying expat prices. This is normal and this is fair. Even if your budget is 2,000 euros a month, because that 2,000 euros a month is twice the minimum wage in Portugal. Plus, you're not taking into account your lifestyle, your visa requirements, and the neighborhood that you choose to live in. Let's talk about lifestyle. What if you're a gym rat? Or you only eat organic? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Perhaps you want your nails done, or you prefer to buy name brand cosmetics. Or maybe you're a football fan and you want season passes. What about health insurance? What about transportation? What about travel? For my video explaining your above the line and below the line costs and how to budget, you can click here. Now let's talk about neighborhoods. Some are just significantly more expensive, like the downtown area of Lisbon, or Graça, or Alfama, and actually all of Lisbon is pretty pricey, Lisbon proper. It just is. And now I'm using Lisbon as an example because number one, I live in Portugal, and number two, it comes up a lot as an affordable city to live in, and that is completely subjective. I can't afford to live there, but maybe you can. Either way, let's talk solutions. Number one, check prices by neighborhood, not by city. And this means searching rentals by district, and also map out your commute times. Number two, build two budgets. Your need to have, which is really your above the line cost, and your nice to have or would be nice to haves, which would be your below the line costs, like getting your nails done, for example. Number three, add your visa costs. Some landlords will charge 6 to even 12 months of rent upfront for non-residents. So do your due diligence before you move. Number four, if you haven't done a 30-day trial budget with real prices, add a 25% buffer. Mistake number two, underestimating the totality of housing costs. Perhaps you're planning rent, but you haven't included deposits or key money, which is common in Japan, or agent fees, or furniture if you get an unfurnished apartment. Some more examples could be Europe. Many places, most places honestly, will charge a few months rent in advance, and this happens in the US. So in the US, we're charged first and last, and they often use last as a deposit, or first, last, and deposit, although I think that is illegal now, but that's how it used to be when I used to rent. in the 90s. But in Europe, they will charge minimum two, usually 3 months rent in advance. And this would be a deposit first month, and some places will charge an agency fee. I had to pay 3 months, I believe, might have been 2, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 months rent in advance. In Japan, as mentioned, they will charge key money and a guarantor fee. Now, in most countries, renting a furnished apartment is pricier. And depending on what country you rent in, unfurnished often means no appliances. In my apartment, for example, I had to buy the washing machine, and I was not prepared for that. I didn't budget for it. I didn't know that would happen. My cousin in France looked at several apartment rentals in Paris where she was expected to buy the stove or the refrigerator. And in Germany, this is common. And when people move, they often take the entire kitchen because they bought it when they moved in. So you're going to have to buy an entire kitchen and have it installed. Know this in advance if you can. Super important. But if you can't find that out, a solution is, number one, budget 4 to 6 months rent, if you can, for your move-in costs. Number two, if you're renting an unfurnished apartment, price your basic setup online. A bed, a sofa, a TV, a desk if you're gonna work, a refrigerator if you need one, a washer if you need one, heaters if it's a cold place and you don't have built-in heat or AC, curtains, sheets, towels, plates, pots and pans, knives, lighting, and the list goes on. So make that list and price out your items. You can either go to IKEA if wherever you're moving to has an IKEA, like here you would go to ikea.pt and price everything out. I did that when I still lived in the United States before I moved here. That's exactly what I did. And I made a list of all the things that I thought I would need and all the things that I wanted. 2 separate lists, right? I did a save. Under IKEA, you can save your lists. So I did that. And I also broke down the lists into rooms, kitchen items, living room items, things I need right away, things maybe I'd want in the future. And I'm not saying buy every single thing at IKEA if you're not an IKEA person and don't like it. I prefer to shop local when I can, but when I first moved here, I didn't know where to go. And I moved into an empty apartment that was unfurnished, and I had to have a bed delivered the morning that I moved in. So I went to IKEA because I knew that at least I could have that done. And then a little caveat about that too, actually, are, and this is important, one is hire your TaskRabbit person that will build your furniture before you check out from ikea.com or .pt or wherever you are, .fr if you're in France, because they cost about 30% less and they will show up right when your furniture is delivered. You can, of course, hire them for specific windows, but that's what I had to do. I had the bed arriving at 10 a.m. and between 10 and noon, and the TaskRabbit set up for 1 in the afternoon, and I paid for that through IKEA or during the checkout process, and I saved quite a bit. And then also make sure that they're gonna bring the items upstairs, because I ordered from another company and I didn't see any box to check to bring the items upstairs, and they refused. And the items were extremely heavy. And this will happen with IKEA too if you don't check the box prior to checking out. And if that happens, you're SOL. It's done. They're not going to bring the items up. Even if you try to hand them cash and beg them and cry, they will not do it. So those are really important things to know if you're going to order furniture that has to be built once you arrive. Number 3, ask for a move-in checklist from your landlord with every line item before signing your lease. So, is there a washer included? Yes or no? Is there lighting included? My landlady told me there was no lighting included in my apartment, yet every single room has an overhead light. So what I did was I ordered lamps, and I had them delivered on that first day because she told me there was no lighting. So make sure that you clear that up. If you can see the apartment before you move in, great. My apartment was being refurbished. So when I saw it, there was nothing here. It was torn down to the studs. And then also, before signing your lease, please check to see who is responsible for the fixes if anything breaks. I hired an expensive lawyer to go over my lease before I signed it because I didn't read Portuguese and I was a little nervous. She did not tell me that I was legally responsible for every single item that breaks in my apartment, whether it was the fault of the builders or not. Now, as I just mentioned, I moved into a newly refurbished apartment, and I've got a video showing the before and after, which is kind of cool, so check it out up here. But the problem was that a bunch of things broke. A bunch of things, and they continue to break. And I am responsible for covering the costs and hiring the people, the fixers, the handymen, the plumbers, finding them and hiring them for everything. And I have a video about that too, if you're interested in checking that out, because that shocked me. I was not prepared for that. So learn from my mistakes. Okay. I went over 2 major mistakes. I went over more than 2 that people make when budgeting for a move to a new country, but I've got plenty more. So please subscribe and turn on your notification settings to get notified when I cover the rest of them in the next video. My passion is helping people move abroad, and you can sign up to my free newsletter where you can grab 4 free downloadables to help ease your move. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.